I don't do a lot of reality TV, and when I
know,
do,
it is reality TV.
I usually do something that's either, I think of that reality TV as like popcorn shit in the background. So it's usually Gordon Ramsay yelling at people, or we found this show recently on Netflix called Alone. That's about survival contest where you take like, I don't know how many, let's call it 10 survival experts. You scatter them throughout the wilderness in, let's say, Alaska. Last one to quit gets $500,000. The months go by, and it's
Dude,
rough.
Alone is neat because, like Kyle said, they're experts, right? I saw another show, I think Naked and Afraid, and the goal is to last 21 days. The thing is, you can starve for 21 days. You find a water source, and you'll pretty much stay alive. You find minimal food, sure, you're going to come out the other end pretty beat up, but you're going to live.
You're going to be looking sexy.
Yeah. If you're up against survival experts, you're going 65 days, 75 days, 100 days in there. You have, and the structures they build are impressive. These are log cabins with chimneys and hammocks and shit like that. On Naked and Afraid, 21 days, they're like, well, I guess I can just lay on a pile of leaves for a while, make it by. They're in for the long haul, these survival experts. I've been watching Survivor. I saw season like 7 and 37 or something like that.
There's so many seasons.
37. I didn't know. Like, they must be doing a couple seasons a year to get to that number.
Have to be.
Hasn't been that many years.
Survivor is a good show. So obviously, like, some of it, like, the audio is too good. I'm like, as a guy who's made videos, I'm like, this audio is outstanding, and both of them are shirtless. That tells me that there's a boom mic hanging over them. Yeah, there's an audio guy with the mic hanging over them while they're whispering to each other. So if it's not staged, it's at least they know they're not private, and that taints the interaction. So I'm always like,
well, they don't mind the camera. The
cameraman's keeping their secret, but
it was always the premier reality show, in my opinion. It was like S-tier reality.
It has changed in a good way, I think.
Okay.
So originally, like season 1, you thought that it was about the ability to survive. And then by the end of the first season, you realize that, oh, you know what? Modern day survival skills include alliance building and manipulation and lying and stuff. Like, that's Richard Hatch was the best survivor on that island. He wasn't the best at catching fish, but you know what? Zombie apocalypse, Richard Hatch maybe runs that show. Or I think his name, Richard Hatch. He's won the first season. Now, people are looking ahead. And like, when they vote someone off, the last 8 or 12, I think it's 12 people now, get on the jury and decide who wins. So it's like, Driftor, I'm voting you off, but man, it hurt my soul to do it. I loved you so much. I know we all lied to you and made you think you weren't about to get voted off, but that's not who I really am. You should love me so that when you're on the jury, you secretly like me. And like, that's part of playing the game. Also, when the jury looks at who wins, they all know this is a devious game. If you make it to the end and you're not a fucking cocksucking asshole, then they're like, Driftor played kind of a weak game, but Taylor over there made major moves. He's the guy that got Carl out, and we all thought he was a juggernaut. And he's the guy that got Lewis out, and no one thought he wasn't going to make it to the final 3. Taylor's a player in this thing, mover and shaker. No one's a bigger asshole. He wins. And so now people are building their survivor resume along the way. Like, I got to make moves. I need the jury to know that I'm a bigger asshole than the rest of these people.
That's a whole different metagame.
Yeah, the metagame has evolved. And also,
that makes more sense. That's better. Like, if you wouldn't want to, as a viewer, see the winner be some guy who was like, shh, I'm not going to talk. Like, you would want everybody to be like, yeah, you bested me, so you get my vote.
That's how it goes. And let's say that I'm very good at the game in this scenario. I want to drag along a few people that we viewed as non-threats. So I vote a threat off, I vote a threat off, I vote a threat off. And at the end, it's me and 2 lamos, and I get my win. And it's because I know damn well, if I don't get you off now, you're going to beat me in the final 3. And
it's $1 million prize?
$1 million
like
for
that?
First place.
Okay.
Nothing for second.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Right? It's so hardcore.
You would like this Russian Survivor show that never came out. They tried to do one. It was kind of like Survivor and Naked and Afraid, and it was like the last one that quits. But the producer was kind of crummy, and he's like, hey, we're going to be in Siberia, so if somebody dies, there's not exactly police around. And like, contestants started killing each other, and the Russians shut it down, and it never came out.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus
Who won?
Yeah.
So
Everybody lost. They all got charged with murder. It was like on camera and stuff. That's so stupid.
That went poorly.
Crazy.
Damn, that's going to be
Woody,
a great like 30 for 30 style documentary.
And then here's the thing
Join
that happens
Survivor.
on a lot of reality shows, right? I watch it and I'm like, oh, you're making this mistake. I could do this better. I could do that better. In some cases, it's true, but I'm forgetting that I have the benefit of like, I'm God watching like aerial shots of the camps and stuff. And I've heard your private conversation. So of course I make better decisions than you. I have more information than you. In Survivor, I watch this and routinely think these people are all better than me. They're all smarter than me. They're all more clever than me. They're like catching fish with spears and shit, and they're working hard. The structures they build, I'm like, I would lose this game. I would be Dan over here. There's a guy who fell in love with a girl, and dude, she hit it back, and it's a showmance, right? These guys are deep in love.
Would you be on it?
Would I be on it?
If the Survivor team, you just got put them in your email tomorrow and offer to be on the show the next season whenever they're filming, would you do it?
You gotta.
Yeah, I think so. I have to talk to Jackie. Like,
you should apply then. It's open applications.
Though. I can tell you I'd get my ass kicked. These people.
So what? Everybody would love to see you on the show.
Would totally fall into the showman. The hypothetical single me. Like, I see these guys. Of course, the girls are all beautiful, right? And it's like, oh, you're on an island for 39 days. What are you gonna wear? Bikini. And and they're like huddling together for warmth. It's an environment that would make people fall in love. And the guys are like dopey love, and the girls are like, I got Dan wrapped around my finger. Yeah. He's gonna vote anyway I tell him to. And I'm like, fuck, you're bad or good. I don't know.
But you won't fall for that.
No. That particular thing I'd be immune to, but I'm not. I watched one guy. He got busted like lying to everybody, right? And I watched a girl. She was working the jury, right? She was like, hey, you just want to let you know everyone's going to vote against you. And then she did too. She lied, backstab, but she was working the jury. And when they caught her working the jury, she was like, what? No, I didn't say that. She's telling you weird lies. It looked terrible for her. She should have come clean. Mm-hmm. The other guy that lied to everyone, his name was Mike. And he's like, you know what? I've told the truth like 90% of the time. That's pretty good for Survivor. And everyone is like, yeah, that's true. Okay. All is forgiven. And it was like, oh, he handled it so well. He's a social genius. Mm-hmm. Kyle would do well at Survival. He's a high EQ.
His body fat's too low. He's got to put on some pounds before he goes.
Dude, it's a problem to look about. There's a guy on season 37. He calls himself the mayor of Slamtown. He's a professional wrestler, and he takes people to Slamtown. And dude, he's really charismatic, and I liked him. But he got voted off fairly early because to look at him, he's a threat. You're like, we got to get rid of this guy or he's going to win this thing. And then there was this nerdy guy who lasted way longer, and he kept auditioning for the position of Slamtown comptroller, and it was hilarious. He's like, that's the mayor of Slamtown right there. And that's not a great picture. He looked better, I felt like most of the time, just in his natural. But it's useful to have him on his team. There's a lot of competitions that are like, hey, hold this heavy thing above your head or prevent this heavy thing from touching the ground. And it's like, all right, Slamtown, you do that. We're going to be solving puzzles while you do it.
The big jacked guys, like I haven't watched as much, Survivor as you, I guess, but I've watched a couple seasons. Those guys get picked out quick. Like they'll be like, oh, that guy, he's a threat. And it's like, you haven't even talked to Big Joe over there. He could just be a dummy who doesn't know what he's doing. But it's like, it's almost like an agreement where it's like, that guy's shredded. I know I'm safe because I'm not shredded like him. And so everybody gloms onto just the most obvious visual, like, superior in their eyes. Like, oh, that guy's going to best me in all the competitions.
So you're right. And there's an actual, so I'm good about like the strategy of it. Oh, Zach says he's a WWE star. I thought he was on lesser wrestling, but in any case, what you want to do is have a strong team before the merge. So there's like two tribes. And then as they get smaller and smaller, eventually you merge. When there's two tribes, your entire tribe gets immunity. Once we merge, it's every man for himself. So if you win the immunity challenge, it only applies to you. So it's like you somehow want your team to be strong while cutting out all the best players right before the merge, because those best players now, they're going to win all the immunity challenges and stay alive. So like you want them to keep your team alive while also getting cut off right before they do. It's conflicting. Anyway, Survivor's a really good show. I didn't realize it. I thought it was a stupid reality show. And while there's certainly elements that I'm sure they're pulling the wool over my eyes, like, you know, when they find the immunity idol, I'm like, try to tell me he didn't find that an hour ago, then they reenacted it.
It's set up.
Yeah.
You ever see, there's a new reality show people are watching kind of in the so bad it's good way. It's called The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. It's on Netflix. It's like a paranormal investigator show. It's like, imagine the most incompetent team of paranormal investigators you've ever seen, a whole army of people with thick Southern accents. And they're so bad, they get hurt like every episode. Somebody falls, somebody has a heat stroke. One dude, he's like, yeah, my head just started swelling for no reason. He's got like this big lump up here. It's like, it must have been the alien energies that we can't detect. And it's like the worst reality show I've ever seen, but it's also hilarious at the same time to just watch them go try to find aliens and get hurt.
just incompetent idiots just can't find the ghosts.
Yeah. You know, it's like respectfully older guys, like bigger, heavier set, 50 plus conspiracy theorists. And they're like, yeah, we'll get better signal up on top of that there mountain. Let's walk up there. And, you know, like 300 yards later, they're all done.
Maybe the side of the mountain has good signal.
Yeah, if they want to be found, they'll come to us. I'm more of a ghost trapper.
Yeah.
I can't get into the paranormal shows because I know they're all horse shit. You know, they've been looking for a decade or more. Like they've had an organized TV show that's been looking for ghosts for over a decade, and they haven't found shit. Okay, that tells me there are no goddamn ghosts. That, or they don't want to be found, in which case that means there are no goddamn ghosts, because you can't find one that sure, ghosts are real, you just can't see them or detect them in any meaningful way.
Yeah, right. Well, then that means it doesn't matter if they're real or not. You can't interact.
There you go. Perfect. So